Hello and thanks for joining us for our mid-morning edition of Arirang News. I'm Mark Brew. Our top story this morning, another day, another shake-up at Korea's presidential office as President Park Geun-hye looks to ease public anger over the power abuse scandal that's engulfed the nation. After firing some of her key aides linked to the scandal over the weekend, President Park has tapped her new chief of staff and senior secretary for political affairs. We connect with our presidential office correspondent Song Ji-son for more. So Ji-son, the president is acting fast to try and soothe public anger and to accommodate the opposition's demands. Are these new appointments likely to satisfy her critics?
Mark, just a day after announcing her nominee for Prime Minister and Finance Minister, the president has appointed these new aides to assist her through the tough times. She's under intense pressure to yield the majority of her power to the new PM or even step down if she fails to overcome the crisis. Han Kwang-ok, the chairman of the Presidential Committee for National Cohesion, is the new chief of staff. The four-term lawmaker, who also served as a chief aide to former President Kim Dae-jung, has long been a symbol of national unity and democracy in Korea, so President Park hopes he will help her deal with the crisis.
President Park appointed Han based on his lifelong faith to the values of reconciliation and tolerance. It will provide suitable ground to assist the president at a difficult time, from the people's point of view, and to carry out state affairs in a stable manner.
For the other key post, Ho Won-jae is the new chief aide for political affairs. The seasoned reporter, who also functioned as a standing commissioner at the Korea Communications Commission, is anticipated to closely coordinate and communicate with the press, the parliament, and diverse sectors across the society, according to the presidential spokesperson. Now, the post for policy coordination, formerly held by Ahn Jong-beom, who is now under prosecutors' investigation for his alleged close links with Choi Soon-sil, is yet to be filled. That's all I have for now, and I'll be back with more in our later newscast. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Ji-son, for that report. Now, we're going to turn to the ongoing probe into the scandal, and the net widened late Wednesday as prosecutors detained a former presidential secretary. The secretary in question denies allegations of forcing local companies to donate tens of millions of dollars to two cultural foundations, which Choi Soon-sil is believed to have established and operated. Oh Jung-hee with the details.
Seoul prosecutors arrested without warrant former presidential secretary Ahn Jong-beom late Wednesday night. The emergency detention was made at 11:40 p.m., roughly 10 hours after he first appeared at the Seoul Central District Prosecutor's office as a suspect in the ongoing abuse of power scandal surrounding Choi Soon-sil, President Park's longtime confidant. The prosecution said they made the arrest without warrant as Ahn denied most of the charges held against him during the questioning and has been found to have pressured some key witnesses to make false testimonies. They also had reason to believe Ahn could attempt to destroy evidence unless detained. Prosecutors must file a court request for an arrest warrant within 48 hours or the suspect must be released.
The prosecution is questioning the former presidential secretary on allegations of abusing his authority to help Choi establish the Mir and K-Sports Foundation and secure corporate donations of roughly $70 million.
Ahn is being held as the main suspect in a crime of abuse of official authority, a charge that's only applied to public officials. As Choi has held no official post in the administration, Ahn becomes the main suspect and Choi an accomplice. Statements from the former Director General of K-Sports, the current Vice President of the Federation of Korean Industries, and an opposition lawmaker have indicated Ahn did pressure conglomerates into making donations. Prosecutors are also looking into whether more officials in the presidential office took part in or supported Choi in setting up the foundations. More than 50 conglomerates that donated funds to Choi's foundations are to be investigated as well. Oh Jung-hee, Arirang News.
Now, in other news, North Korea is under a myriad of unilateral and international sanctions for its nuclear missile provocations, but Russia appears determined to continue to trade with Pyongyang in certain areas. US-based broadcaster Voice of America reported Thursday that Russia's Minister for the Development of the Russian Far East told a local news agency that Moscow is expected to continue its economic cooperation with North Korea within the limits of the sanctions. He said that includes the supply of electricity to the north, as Russia and North Korea signed an electric power deal late last year. The US Federal Reserve has kept interest rates on hold for November in a widely expected move ahead of the presidential election next week. The Fed, however, set the stage for a possible hike for next month as the economy shows signs of momentum. No Arirang has more.
The Fed's interest rate setting committee released its statement on Wednesday, saying that rates will be unchanged for this month. It said that after a two-day meeting, the committee decided to wait for further evidence of continued progress toward its objectives. Analysts had expected the Fed not to take any action with less than a week before the presidential election. The central bank, however, signaled at a possible hike in December. It said the American economy had gained steam, job creation remained solid, and policymakers were more confident inflation was nearing the bank's 2% target. In the statement, the Fed also removed its previous reference to inflation remaining low in the near term. The Fed said the case for the increased borrowing costs continued to strengthen, meaning action could be taken when the committee gathers next month for its final meeting of the year. This is also backed by Fed Chair Janet Yellen's comments a couple of months ago that a move before year's end was likely as long as U.S. employment and inflation continued to get stronger. After the announcement, markets were little changed, with most analysts expecting the rate rise next month. Yellen will hold a press conference after the next meeting, which wraps up on December 14th, where she will explain any action the bank takes and may even give a glimpse into any possible increases next year. No Arirang, Arirang News.
And that's all we have for now. We'll be back at noon Korea time, so until then, goodbye.